Hey, welcome, guys. This is my first in a series of videos I'm calling Unplugged, where I catch up with old friends and people in my life that I haven't seen in a long time, or even people that just are very intriguing, have intriguing lives, and I want to get to see. I want to get a window into some of that, and hopefully we'll get some awesome stories, feel inspired, and just feel connected because I'm trying to encourage people to social distance, but we can still see each other and catch up and whatnot. So my first guest is my high school choir teacher, Mr. Aaron Rodriguez, and I was just telling him how when I first emailed him, I was really conflicted between wanting to write out Mr. Rodriguez or Aaron Rodriguez, because like I'm an adult now, so I should call you just Aaron. But that feeling as a kid that you still wanna say Mr. Rodriguez, it's still there. So I'm trying to fight it. But we've seen each other after I graduated. We hung out a few times, and
Sure,
oh,
sure.
and I want to thank you for coming to my father's funeral. That meant a lot.
Oh, of
Great to
course.
see. It was great to see my teacher and somebody who and I'll say it now. You were a great teacher. I mean, at least for me, from my experiences, you were definitely one of the first teachers that I felt didn't talk like other teachers, and like there was a level of um, I guess there's accessibility, to an adult that wasn't like an adult. Like,
Well, I'm gonna let you know a little secret. I really wasn't a teacher, okay?
you weren't a teacher?
No, it's a joke, but
Oh.
hey.
So I can't. I full heartedly trust you, so I can't just be like, I can't call your bullshit now. Oh man, even though
It's just that I wanted to do things differently as a teacher, and I never wanted to be a teacher. That was the thing. It's kind of like I fell into it, and um, yeah, I started teaching when I was 22, and I fell into teaching, and I didn't think I was going to be teaching for long. It was like no, and originally I was supposed to go into politics.
oh,
And so I have a degree in IR or international relations also, and I went to school in England.
I didn't
And
know that. Was it Oxford?
so
Or where'd you go to school in England?
yeah, U of L, University of London. But then
Okay,
I finished over at Whittier College, and of
okay.
course Nixon graduated from Whittier College, right? So when I graduated, my dad said, "So what senator are you going to go work for?" And I was like, "This is like a dog and pony show." And that was like in the '90s,
Yeah.
and so I just
Was that
started.
Bill Clinton era or Bush era?
Well, it was night when I graduated. It was '95. So,
So
like Clinton, probably like
yeah,
Clinton.
Clinton was, I think, Clinton just kicking in by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I sold copiers and fax machines my first year out, and I made like 80 grand. But I hated my job. I was like 22, and then I fell into teaching. Somebody said, "Don't you have a degree in music?" And I said, "Yes." And they said, "Well, we need a music teacher at our school." So I wanted to apply just for like shits and giggles, right?
Yeah.
And and the principal, I know she didn't like me, but she just now I know why she hired me. She didn't like me. So and it was really that those kids were the hardest because they had gone through like 6 long-term subs in one semester.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there was only supposed to be one long-term sub, right?
Yeah.
And they went through 6 in one semester, and that was because of the fact that they had this teacher who she had a baby, I think, and she quit, and the kids just loved her. So
Was this
it
at Ayala or is it another school before it?
no, that was a yeah, and I just remember like the first thing I went into class, and there was this one girl named and she was a chola,
Okay.
right? And they used to
Yeah,
call her like Green Eyes,
yeah. Like
like Green Eyes.
it's like what's that movie? Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, no kidding. No, seriously, this is like a movie. I'm gonna tell you because she had the feathered, the
Yeah,
feathered
I remember
hair,
the look. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sandy. She had sandy blonde hair,
Eyebrows.
and she wore these big old like um these white, big, heavy
Tank
white.
tops, right? Like tank tops
No, that she
and
wore white
flannels.
t-shirts, and they were airbrushed. So like she had
Okay.
like laugh now, cry later.
Yeah, yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she wore
Like
the big baggy
baby
jeans.
girl, or yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So she came up to me. I'll never forget. She looks up at me because this girl was like, I don't know, maybe she was maybe 5'2",
Hmm.
and so she's like, listen, Mr. Rodriguez, we're not gonna do a fucking thing you tell us to do. You hear me? And I'm like 22, dude.
Yeah.
I have never heard
Me too.
kids
Jeez.
talk like that to
Yeah.
adults, right? I've never heard such a thing.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the, right? And she's got her little posse behind her.
Yeah.
And I'm all, like, I don't even think because, like, I'm like, and so they told me how it was going to work, you see. So, and how it was going to work was that they were going to do whatever.
Yeah.
And then there was a kid that used to sit outside the door. His name was Carlos. And Carlos would alert us when like somebody was coming.
Like a principal, and then
Yeah, and then he had a code word for the principal, which was PFP, which is the Spanish, PFP. But they would say perra fea peluda, which means like the big hairy ugly dog, you know. So he would say, "Ah, viene PFP," and then everybody would just pretend, and I had to pretend like I was teaching.
yeah. Then you're out there, you're like the treble clef, and you just turned on.
This one went on for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing? You know?
It's like a speakeasy where they just flip it into like a
Oh my
bar.
gosh! People tell me, "Oh, you're full of shit." That sounds like a movie. You probably got that.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it sounds like a movie.
I'm fucking lying, bitch. You know?
So that does happen. Is that very common that like these classes linger with like?
I don't know. I really don't know. And the thing is that what happened with me was I finally I wasn't witty. When I got to you guys, I should have become witty.
You were very witty. No, you were. I credit a lot of your wittiness to even my jokes, because like you were just always around like giving people shit all the time.
But you know, those kids at that other school at Mountain View taught me how to be like that. Because the thing was that, see, every time they would tell me something, they go, fuck you, and they tell me all this shit. So I'd write it down.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'd go home and practice in front of the mirror.
Really?
Right?
Are you serious?
So no, I'm dead serious. So because I was like scared of these kids.
Yeah.
Right?
So you want to get them back with their jokes.
So I had to come back with something. So the whole thing was that they tell me all these things. So for I'm telling you, this went on for 2 weeks when I finally said, fuck, I got to do something. Like I have to
14,
do
14 days.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's a month. I don't know. But the bottom line was that I was like, either I'm going to do something or I'm going back to my other job or whatever. And so what happened was that, like I told you, I would go home and I'd practice in front of the mirror. And I probably did that for 2 weeks after that, just to try to get, to this place where I could say something back without shaking. I'm telling you, I was scared of these kids, right?
I'm scared of teenagers now. So
so anyway, it came to the point where I just I decided this is the day. And so I went into class and I got behind the piano and I was like, okay, I wasn't a great pianist, right? So, but at least I could play on,
you fooled the rest of us. So.
Right.
I knew the keys that you were playing. So that's
right. So at any rate, it was like, I would just okay, we're going to warm up or, whatever. And Sandra stood up on the risers and she's all, because we had those sitting risers, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like what they had at Ayala, but those were permanent. These were not.
These are,
whatever.
yeah.
So she stood up and says, Rodriguez, I thought I told you we're going to do a fucking thing you tell us to do. And I'm like, so anyway, I'm like, so you guys, and she said, hey, she was like, hey, I told you, fucker, we're not doing any of that shit. And I was like, listen, fat ass, fucking fat ass down, bitch, or something. I just got crazy, right? And I was at this point where it was like do or die.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I knew that, I could get fired, but I really kind of wanted to be fired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just double down now.
Yeah, it was like, you know what? fuck it, maybe they'll come in and maybe they'll watch these kids and maybe, because I'm in this place where I don't know what to do. Like, and I don't know, I was just fucking scared.
Yeah.
And they would threaten me and I've never dealt with that before. And I was just, that's not the way I was raised. So she was like, what did you say? And I'm all, listen, fat bitch, I told you to sit your fucking ass down. And inside I'm fucking like shaking, probably shitting my pants. No joke. Right? And everyone goes, woo, and it gets quiet. And so she and I are going at it for, I don't know, another few minutes until I fucking just told her, I let her have it. And
Yeah.
finally she sat down and then she tried a few more times. And then maybe the next day, I think it might have gone on for maybe 2 or 3 days. And maybe even her threatening, I'm going to go to the principal. I go to the principal. At this point, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. And so finally, she got in line. And because she was the leader of the posse, everybody else got in line with like green eyes. And that was it, dude. And they taught me how to teach. No joke. Because I'm glad that I was there. Because when I went to Ayala was nothing. And especially when,
we were.
At one point, they had, you weren't there at this point, but at one point they had put 150 kids in my mixed chorus.
150?
Yeah.
In one class?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's not fucking
legal. How do you, like, 150, wow. That's a lot. Because what's the minimum of a class? I mean, I think 30 was the minimum, like, in a normal class when I was a kid, right?
No, like okay, so yeah, there was a minimum for core classes, but for the arts, you don't have a maximum and you don't have a minimum.
So they just feel that's why sometimes those classes felt like, why are there so many fucking kids in this one class?
But there's also capacity in the room. There's a room capacity.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean,
is that the loophole?
I'm sure 150. And I don't know. I don't think that was legal, but whatever the case, So, but they taught me. So when I got to you guys, I was like, oh, you guys are nothing. And I can handle y'all.
I survived cholas. My life being threatened. Yeah, these Chino Hills kids, they're nothing.
They're
all posers. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know. So that was that the first school, and then after that you went to Ayala right after, or with others?
Then.
So you were just fresh out of living Dangerous Minds into like a suburban choir.
Yeah, cross between A Living Color and Dangerous Minds. I don't know what Living Color is, but yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. But so then you were even younger. I thought you were around like 27 when you were teaching me. But I guess you were much younger.
When I got to Ayala, well, that was I started November 4th, I think, of 1998.
Okay.
Something like that. And because they finally released me, because I started at and I went through the next year, and then I got the job at Ayala, but they didn't want to release me right away. And so they didn't release me in Mountain View until November.
Those kids you had trouble with, did it change, or like you got to teach them music, or
no, they were good kids after, they just they were just used to kicking the subs' asses, they would come in there and the subs were like, I'm out of here. I'm telling you, they went through 6 in one semester.
Yeah, no, like that is like a movie that's like the cliche of every like urban school story where a teacher comes in like, we lost 12 subs and you're the last one.
And nobody tells me shit. Yeah. And I'm a brand new teacher. Like I had never had a fucking teaching class in my life.
Yeah, like what's because you have a degree, but then you can just hire up as a teacher. There's no.
Well, I have a music. I have a BA.
Okay.
And I double majored in music and international relations. So then I was able to go on at that time an emergency credential.
Gotcha.
So I never did student teaching. Those were my student teachers.
Okay, wow.
Those were my student teachers. Yeah.
You got them in the fire.
They were the best. And actually, all of you guys, truly, all of you were the best, because especially what I do now, like it's funny because um, I was talking to some life coaches,
Hmm.
and I was telling them how really, as a teacher, I would always tell you guys, and I don't know if you remember this, but I'd always say, you guys teach me more than I will ever teach you, or I will learn more from you guys than you will ever learn from me. And that was the truth, because of the fact that you guys taught me so many things without even knowing what you taught me. Um, and just me having to adjust to those things. A good teacher is one that looks to help everybody.
Hmm.
Even the straggler, or even the kid who none of the other teachers like, and we had
Yeah,
those kids,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and everybody had a place. That was one of the things that I was animated about, was that the choir room would be a haven for anybody that came in. And really, kids would tell me years after, they'd say, you know what? I never would have hung out with that kid had it not been for choir.
Yeah.
Because at one point we had the student body president in there, we had, band kids, we had drama kids, we
Yeah,
had
yeah.
track stars,
The hottest
basketball,
girl,
whatever.
the nerdiest guy, same class,
Yeah, yeah.
same
And
group
they
of
were all
friends.
like
Yeah,
friends, somehow.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
teenagers. That's just
yeah,
the
yeah.
proximity.
There's always going to be that shit.
Yeah.
But, learning to deal with everybody and all the personalities, and not only that, but the parents.
Mhm.
Because at Ayala, all the parents were so involved.
Yeah, the choir did seem like a safe space for a lot of us, and I can only speak for myself, but I know other kids that were having hard times with their families or just being in high school period, and
Sure.
I never forget that. Like, you're right that everyone had a place in choir, even like the most underappreciated girl who's like shy and like, I remember you gave solos to people that like were just wallflowers that you would never see, and then you get a chance to see them perform, and they come out of their like there's something that about performance that really triggers something in a lot of people that gives them a moment to um, just feel beyond who they are, who they think they are,
Sure.
and I feel like you always capture that. And even for me, like you gave me a lot of opportunities, and a lot of the reasons why I continue to do what I do is because you gave me those opportunities, and I never forgot that. Like, I for a moment in my childhood, I felt good enough because for me growing up, my father always tried to get me to sports and get a scholarship, the normal kind of be doctors, like
Mm.
like that was like the goal for every Asian father. So when I took interest in art, and he didn't know how to direct that,
Sure.
and he loves seeing me perform, but he didn't know like how can this be Mark,
Right.
how can he make a career of this? How can
Sure.
yeah, yeah, which makes any parent nervous. But choir was the seed to everything for me that evolved into like doing performance and now as a DJ performer, like it's all I give credit to choir for opening that door for me because um I probably would be just seldom doing what my parents wanted, and and just kind of blindly maybe not doing something I'm happy doing, but now I've lived a life of an entertainer. I've had my highs and lows, and I love what I do now, so it's one of those things where I wouldn't that evolution wouldn't have took place if I didn't have choir. So for me it's been it's like anytime I hear about the arts and you know losing funding, like, no, support the arts, kids need the arts, like that's the one place where like they get to express who they are and find a bit of something that you can't really get from doing book work, and although there's a lot of learning and studying with performing, but like it's to put yourself in front of a stage, in front of an audience, to be vulnerable, and also to connect with other people who have the um, same desires and talents you have. It's an unexplainable thing unless you were there. Like some people look at choir like, oh, choir, like that's cheesy, but like no, we had a great time.
And it depends on the choir,
Yeah, yeah,
and and because you also had that family setting there
Mhm.
too, that family energy, that I think that really did help a lot of kids. And so it was just that choir room at Ayala was an amazing place.
Yeah, that
And
was such a fun interview. Thanks for watching, guys. It's just part one of a two-parter that we'll be doing for just for Mr. Aaron Rodriguez, my choir teacher from my childhood. So it's great to talk to him, catch up with him, and hear about his career. We're gonna go more in depth on the net part two, and then we have more guests lined up throughout the month and week. So if you want to be part of this, if you want to be, if you want to talk about whatever topic you'd like, come on, DM me. Let's do it. Love to talk to you. Let's speak to you. But hey, my name is Katar Marcus. This has been Unplugged. We'll see you on the next one. But don't forget to be safe, be kind, and be you. Peace.